Good morning, wonderful humans. So we're back with our two bowls that we made on the wheel a while back. So you should have thrown both bowls by now. You should have trimmed a foot into both bowls. And now we're gonna get into that final step, which is etching our design into both. So mine, I think I trimmed them last week, and so I've just kind of been busy. I did have them covered in a bag, but they are, you know, as you can see, on the borderline of bone dry. So luckily though, since they haven't been fired, you can still kind of rehydrate. So I'm just kind of taking my sponge, just kind of smoothing it out, and putting some water onto the piece just to make it easier and less dusty to kind of carve into. But please be really, really careful at this state. If your clay gets to this state, right, which it might, to not break it, because, you know, this is a lot of time and energy in progress. And I would hate for, you know, all of that to be for nothing and you to break it and have to start over, you know, this point of the year. So like I kind of demonstrated with the tumblers, these two are gonna need to go together as a set. So you can be thinking about, I think I'm probably gonna do a design that kind of also goes with the set of tumblers that I made. So if you remember those ones, I did kind of like a mountain range on both, and then just kind of like a nature-y type scene. You can of course have your bowls not go with the cups, but again, by the end of the school year, you'll have a whole set of dishes, so it might be kind of nice to have all of your dishes kind of relate to each other in some way. So think about, you want to be etching around the entire thing, so 360, you know, 360 degrees around, and you want to be kind of using all of your space. So, you know, you don't just want to draw like one little heart and be like, cool, I'm done. One, you have plenty of time, so it's a good opportunity to use that time to really get some nice details in there. And then two, again, when we go to glaze it, you can just kind of glaze it one color, or you can glaze it in an ombre, and then all of your designs will kind of pop out because you've carved them in. So to start, again, I'm just gonna kind of map it out. Remember, pencil burns out in the kiln. So again, I'm gonna kind of use the old, I think that's pea vine, peek just outside my window to kind of get, you know, my guidelines going. So again, I'm just kind of drawing all the way around the piece with my pencil. I'm gonna do a couple rows of these kind of hills. So again, I like to draw onto the piece. You might prefer to just kind of etch in, but either way, you definitely want to have your idea planned out. In the throwing process, like obviously there's only 6 wheels, so there are gonna be days where you don't have the opportunity to throw on the wheel. So that would be when you could be coming up with your ideas for your etching. And then just keep in mind, so you should have a tool to use, and you just wanna make sure to kind of carve away a decent amount. Again, when you're first starting, you don't have to carve that deep, because maybe you change your mind. You could always kind of fill it back in with clay, but before you turn it in, you want to make sure that those lines are really pronounced. So that's why I like the etching tool rather than the needle tool, just because it does scoop the clay out and the needle kind of pokes in. But again, you want to make sure that you're carving enough away so that when you glaze it, you can kind of still see the indent there from your design. And again, you are doing everything in your power to not completely destroy this piece as you are etching into it. So both of your pieces, again, should match, should kind of go along with the theme. You don't necessarily need to do something similar to kind of what my theme is, right? I want it to be something that is personal to you, that is your you know, artistic aesthetic that you find pleasing to the eye, that you would want to have, let's say, you know, a dish set that looked like this, you would buy it at the store when you know, move out on your own. So really take the time to kind of come up with something unique and interesting. Don't just do the first thing that pops into your head. Really be intentional with it, because again, you've been intentional with this process every step of the way. So why would this be, you know, any different? So again, for me, you know, I grew up in Nevada. I love, you know, being out in the mountains or hiking, just being out in nature. So for me, kind of being inspired by that, it's kind of what makes that pattern, you know, all the more relevant to me. And it lends for, again, my favorite type of glazing, which is where I do kind of like an ombre overlap. So that can lend itself really well to any type of like desert scene, because you can just have it kind of looking like a sunset. So again, it doesn't have to be super deep, but you want to find some kind of meaning in your design. Okay, so there's like my little mountains and everything. Again, I'll probably do just kind of like some more details as I'm going. And then the second one I'm gonna do pretty similar, but again, I will just kind of record myself in a time lapse doing it to save us kind of time and energy. And then I'll probably go in and just give it, you know, kind of some details. So I'm just kind of like scooping some parts away from the mountain to give it some, just kind of some more of that interesting texture. And again, if you were inspired by mountains or hills, you could literally just look out the windows while you're in the classroom and kind of do what I'm doing. So again, this tool I really like for creating texture, because you can kind of, again, you're just scooping away little pieces of the clay, and it can create a really interesting texture. You know, the whole point of throwing is that we make something perfect, and then we want to make it unique after the fact, because you're going to have an entire class of people that are working on ceramic bowls. You know, we already had that with the tumblers. So how is your bowl set going to be different from everyone else's? How is it going to represent you as an artist? You know, those are important things to kind of think about as you're designing. You know, what are you interested in? This is totally driven by you once you get to kind of this design point. Sorry, there was a really weird sound out in the hallway. Okay, so again, you should be pretty familiar with etching since you've already done it with your tumbler set. Just again, you can take the sponge with some water to kind of hydrate. I definitely recommend drawing with a pencil before, and you should have your sketches drawn and honestly approved before you even start drawing on there, just so that we can double check it and make sure that you're challenging yourself appropriately, that you're meeting the expectations, that the pattern is unique and original. You know, please just don't do like the McDonald's logo all over it. Try to find something a little bit more special to you. And then you should have, again, both bowls, wow, I'm just losing my train of thought. Both bowls etched is the goal by the end of the assignment, which would get you to I believe winter break. So good luck to everyone. Again, try not to break your pieces because you've been working so hard on them. I can't wait to see all of them, and yeah, good luck, have fun, bye.